Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jake Connect here, along with head coach Scott Langer. The final Wings Weekly of the year after a win on Friday night, Coach, a 3-1 win there in Bismarck. Bismarck scored first, but a really strong second period, especially the second half of the second period, it seemed like, and then a strong third to close it out. What were your guys' thoughts as a staff about that Friday matchup that ended up clinching the division?
Yeah, I thought it was right from the start. We actually played really good hockey, especially road hockey, and I think they scored on their first actual shot. It was 7 shots on the board, but 6 were dump-ins from outside the blue line. So. But our guys responded. Obviously, we went in there down 1-0, and I thought our guys were really good and came out ready to play. And we had a really good second period. And I thought our third period, we just didn't give anything up, which I think you have to be able to close teams out. And that's one thing we've been trying to learn to do throughout the playoffs. And I thought that was our best game as far as closing teams down.
It's interesting as the game went along. They had, I think, 3 icings back to back, and then it just seemed like they started to. They came out with quite a bit of jam at the beginning of the game, but at that midway through the second, they seemed like they started to tire out a little bit, and you could see where your guys actually seemed to get a little bit more, or maybe it wasn't so much that they had more, but they didn't fall off at all as far as energy and so on, and it seemed like that was really starting to be a tipping point. Do you think that was a big part of how you're able to close teams out?
Well, they're a team that doesn't play physical hockey, and they obviously changed their game plan for that game, and they came out trying to hit everything in sight. And when you're not conditioned to play that way, it's only a matter of time before you hit the wall. And I think that's kind of what you've seen. We spoke about it after the first period that it was evident in their game plan that they were going to try to knock us around and hit everything they could. And we knew that it was just a matter of time before they kind of hit that point where our conditioning kicked in, and obviously we get a huge goal from Will and really sparks our bench, and it was a whole different story after that.
Certainly was. All right, well, we're moving on. Wings advance to Blaine, Central Division champions. The Midwest, the Magicians had to go to 5, and were the last to advance. Shreveport and Maine, the other 2. So there were 4. You will face the Magicians in a best-of-3 series coming up. The Magicians' regular season 24, 21, and 3. Throughout the playoffs, their power play 12%, their penalty kill 84.2. Again, that's just in the playoffs. Their regular season 19.4% on the power play, 82.9 on the penalty kill. I imagine you guys have had a chance to watch that Game 5 and kind of study this team a little bit?
Yeah, and we'll be watching all their games and just kind of putting a plan together as we go through the week here. And they're a skilled hockey team. They got some vets there that have played quite a bit of hockey, and they lean on them. And you look last night in Game 5, those guys showed up, and they ended up winning that series, which was a tight series. But they're a good hockey team, and we expect to get their very best, come Friday.
For sure. We talk about scheduling often about routines and so on, and about how you don't want to change things up. Guys have their routine; they know what they've got to do. This is a whole different ball game though now for all teams, all 4 teams that are heading over, because the scheduling, not only travel, meals, meetings, banquets, all that stuff gets thrown in, and I would imagine creates some challenges for your staff, but certainly for the players as well. It's kind of out of the norm.
Yeah, but that's what you get when you get the opportunity to go and play on a big stage. Mm-hmm. There's different things that you have to deal with, and you just have to take it and roll with it. And it's no different at the Robertson Cup. There's a lot going on, but everything is geared towards promoting these players. Right. It's all for them. It's all about, this whole league's about the players. So I think it's about embracing it, enjoying it, and when it's time to work, you work. When it's time to kind of enjoy it, you enjoy it. But we'll have a pretty strict schedule that we're all the players are going to know what we're doing each day when we have to do it. So once those games start on Friday, it's all about hockey.
Right. Well, I know it's been impressive in the last 2 times that we've been over, how the way the league handles things. Like I mentioned, as far as meals, all that kind of stuff. It's really pretty much a well-oiled machine. They do a great job. Speaking of the league, They came out with the awards this last week, and since we last talked, the Organization of the Year, Coach and GM of the Year, congratulations, that goes to you. Organization, as I mentioned, to the Wings. Community Service, Clay Cosentino. Forward of the Year was Peyton Matsui. Goaltender of the Year and MVP, Jake Sibell. And then you had Sibell, Matsui, DeVita, all making the first team of North American Hockey League. Yeah, you've had some very successful seasons and very successful teams. Have you ever had a team that with this many accolades that has been the recipient, I guess, or earned this many awards?
No way. I mean, I'm not sure that there has been any team. I'll be honest with you. It's a great question to ask, but that's a lot and well earned. All those guys you mentioned just put so much work and heart into this thing this year, and obviously that's why we've had the season we've had. It's just a special group, and I mean, there's so many more guys that actually could have had an award. They really can. Yep. Obviously, they can only other teams have to get some awards, but I mean, those guys that you named there, they just done a tremendous job and found a way through a 10-month season, just long and grueling, and they showed up every day and they put up great numbers, and those awards are absolutely earned. Yep. And what an honor it is for the league to honor our team in that capacity.
Well, and Organization of the Year, I thought that was one that was kind of resounded to me. Obviously, as you mentioned, the individual awards for all the hard work and for them to be acknowledged and to be, have that recognition, I guess. But as an organization, I think that's pretty cool too. I know that's something that the whole Wings organization, the family, Odie family, obviously, Aaron, everybody that puts the work into it and their passion into it. That was pretty cool too. So that's got to be meaningful to you guys too.
It's a huge honor. I mean, there's a lot of franchises in this league that strive for that every single year. It's a big one, and we were mentioned last year within the division, which was great, and now this year we were honored as a franchise of the year through the entire North American Hockey League, and it. Like I said, it started here in this locker room this summer with a lot of planning, and we got through a lot of stuff, and the front office staff with Aaron and Megan, and obviously the Odie family, and all the moving parts. There's so many people that do things for this hockey team. You can't go through them all, but it's a great honor. And recruiting wise, I think it's awesome when players, potential athletes coming in here see that we were the franchise of the year. That's another rung, that we put into our culture that we have to, as a group, as an entire franchise, we have to try to attain that now every single year. Yeah.
Gotta keep reaching, trying to improve. It's funny though. It takes me back to watching you and Greg in the locker room at a table talking about how this season's going to get started and all of the protocols and all the things that had to be done. And now it just seems like that was an eternity ago. But you're right. In a year like that, even more meaningful, maybe because of everything that had to be done for the safety of the players, for everybody. So very cool. And again, congratulations on all of those things, and of course, Coach and GM of the Year as well. Coach, that's really about all I've got for you. I wanted to touch on the Magicians. I've got a player that'll be joining me here in a little bit. But again, congratulations on all of those awards and really having it kind of pay off in a sense. And of course, the job isn't completely done yet, but it's been a fantastic year. And thanks so much for joining me on Wings Weekly again.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, we'll return with the second portion of Wings Weekly with one of the players coming up after this.
How you move matters. Avera Orthopedics helps you move freely and live life to the fullest with innovative treatment options customized to your bone, muscle, and joint needs. Whether you suffer from aches, breaks, tears, or dislocations, turn to the orthopedic team experienced in treating every body.
Continuing on with Wings Weekly, and as usual, the second portion of players joining me, and this time it is Jake Sibell of Asante, Minnesota. Jake, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, second time that we've had a chance to talk here on Wings Weekly, so like I've told some of the other guys that have been on a couple of times, we aren't going to go through the hockey history and how you got started and all that kind of stuff. But this has been an incredible year. I was just talking with Coach Langer about all of the awards that the organization and team have compiled here this year, but you certainly goaltender of the year and league MVP. That has got to feel pretty amazing.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good accomplishment, but not really focused on it right now. I kind of enjoyed it already, and now I'm looking forward to this week. So.
Yeah. I can't say that I'm entirely surprised by that. I mean, part of me is like, oh, it'd be surreal to be named the MVP, but then you guys got to, keep your eye on the prize, so to speak. So I get it. That's very cool. Earlier this year we talked. You've obviously top goaltender in the league, and obviously with those awards, and it shows. What do you think was the biggest influence or biggest factor in your success this year?
I think it was more mindset type thing. I don't think I changed my game a whole lot. It was just having a mindset to reset after every play and stop the next shot. And working with Josh this summer, that's a lot of our work was just becoming a better athlete physically and mentally, and just being able to reset and stay calm in the moment.
The mental or emotional component, I think a lot of people overlook that when it comes to athletics, but maybe more important for a goaltender than any other position, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think so. If you think about it, a lot of the fans, they always point to how the goalie played if you lose a game, and it's always on you. If you lose, it's always how'd the goalie do, and stuff like that. So it's kind of more of a mental thing that you got to put away and not worry about what other people think, and just worry about stopping the next puck.
How helpful? This is kind of a rhetorical question because I know it's big, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about the guys that play in front of you, blocking shots and doing things like that to help you out, obviously to help the team win and everything. But it kind of makes your job a little easier, I would imagine, when you're not seeing 40 shots, on goal a game, and that you have guys that are willing to step in front of one and take one for the team, so to speak.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a team that's so dedicated to defense. Not seeing 40 shots a game and just knowing that I'm going to have to focus hard for 20, 25 shots on average probably. And just makes it a lot easier on me when I know I just have to come up big a couple of times, and my team's going to score a bunch of goals for me. So it's been nice.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you think about some of the, not only teams in the North American League, but any team there are moments where, a goaltender, like we talked about, you're kind of on your own in some senses, and if you get kind of hung out to dry, so to speak, or whatever, those stand on your head kind of saves that you've made on many occasions this year are not easy, and it's not easy to duplicate and replicate that over and over and over again when it's asked of you. So again, to try to limit the chances that another team gets, I'm sure a big help. Last time that you and I talked here on Wings Weekly, I don't think that you were committed to Niagara University just yet, but I wanted to, if we have talked about it, we're going to do it again. but if not, talk to me a little bit about how that process went and your decision to go with Niagara. What kind of convinced you?
Yeah, I was talking to a couple teams at the time, but Niagara reached out and got me on a virtual tour right away, and I got to see how small the campus was and how small, tight feel it was. I got to see their facilities online, and there was just no other school that was talking to me at that time was quite like that, like Niagara, and I kind of fell in love with the campus and just the overall feel around it. And the coaches talked to me, and I really love the coaches, so that's what kind of pushed me towards saying yes to the deal right away. Excellent.
Well, I could see when somebody, you got a couple of different teams that you're talking to, when one of them is putting a little more effort in and making you feel wanted, welcome, and making sure that you are comfortable with the facility and so on. I can see where that would definitely be a tipping factor or a deciding moment. I talked to Coach Langer just a little bit ago about routine and about during the regular season. Everybody kind of knows what's going on, when pregame skate is and all that kind of stuff. This is a different week, and like Coach Langer said, it goes along with playing on a higher level or at a higher stage, I should say, maybe not level, but it'll be a different week with all kinds of different travel, and there's banquets and there's meetings and all that kind of stuff. And oftentimes, with the banquet and the meals and so on, you're right there with the other teams that you're going to be playing and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. But from I know, like you mentioned, you guys are trying to stay focused and stuff. But as a group, have you guys talked about that at all? Looking forward to the whole pomp and circumstance of the semifinals?
No, we haven't talked about it at all, really. We talked about the Magicians now a little bit, but we haven't talked about all the stuff surrounding the Rugby Cup. We were just kind of focused on the games and taking it one step at a time.
Yeah. Well, it's like Coach Langer said too. When you get there and you have all that kind of fun stuff, you want to take some time to enjoy it. But then once Friday hits, it's game time, and which actually segues into my last question for you here. Earlier this year when we talked, you talked about knowing that it was your last year in juniors and having the success that this team has had here so far. You talked about trying to take a little more time to enjoy the moment and spend time with the boys and do a little more as far as trying to take it all in, so to speak. And which is also kind of, like I said, it kind of ties in with that whole the event, I guess, of the Robbie coming up. But how has the second portion of the year been that way for you too? Have you been able to kind of take some time and go, wow, man, this is really fun. This is a great time in my life.
Yeah, I've been definitely sticking to the same thing, trying to enjoy the time with my teammates. You don't think about it being over too much until we win the Robbie Cup, but I haven't really thought about it being the end as much. I'm just trying to keep enjoying every day as it comes.
Well, that's all you can do, and it's a great mentality and great thought process. But I just I remembered you telling me that, and I remember thinking, that's true of a lot of these guys, that this is going to be their final year of juniors, and it's an experience that you're not going to have again in a lot of ways, even if you go on to obviously playing collegiate or whatever. It's not quite the same as junior hockey. So, all right. Well, hey, Jake, congratulations again on MVP and on the goaltender of the year. And once again, thanks so much for coming on the show with me.
Thanks for having me.
And, of course, best of luck against the Magicians and hopefully moving on. 2021 North American Hockey League Robertson Cup semifinals, best of 3. Games will be played at Fogarty Arena in Blaine, Minnesota. Friday, June 18th, Game 1 versus the Minnesota Magicians at 4:30 in the afternoon. Saturday, June 19th, Game 2 versus the Minnesota Magicians, 4:30 in the afternoon. And then, if necessary, Game 3 would be Sunday, June 20th. Again, against the Magicians. All games can be watched at hockeytv.com or at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen. Listen on 94.1 The Rock, hubcityradio.com, or the Rock app. Should the Wings advance to the NAHL Championship game, it will be played Tuesday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. For ticket and hotel information, visit nahl.com/Robertson Cup. And don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. Once again, Jake Sibell, thanks so much for coming on. And thanks to all of you for listening and watching. That'll do it for this week's Wings Weekly.